Surely you have heard that critical rate is very important for Mage to not depend only on Cattle to deal critical damage, but how much critical rate do you really need in your build? Today I would like to explain to you step by step everything you need to know about the critical rate in Mages. First of all, we must know that we have two skills that will make it easier for us to do magic critical damage. Spell Burst converts 25% of our critical rate into magic critical rate, which means that to do critical damage with only this passive we need a total of 400 critical rate. But why 400? This is because the base critical resistance of the mobs is 100, and if we divide this value by 25%, it gives us the amount of critical rate we need. Now, Element Slash inflicts weaken on the target for approximately 3 seconds, which allows us to convert our critical rate into magic critical rate by 50% and is added with the Spell Burst passive, giving a total of 75% of conversion. So if we apply the formula I mentioned above, while weaken is active on the target, we will only need 133 critical rate. Now, what happens to bosses who have critical resistance? The base resistance of all bosses is 100 but usually have critical resistance. For example, here we have Kusto who has 25 critical resistance. The formula to calculate how much critical rate we need to face Kusto would be to add the base resistance plus the resistance that the boss has and divide it by 75%, and this will be the amount of critical rate we need. But here there is a very important point, and it is the element of our magic skills. Element Slash will always apply weaken, but the element of our magic must be the strong one against the boss we are facing. Let's take an example with Kusto. It is a earth element boss, and to take advantage of the weaken effect of Element Slash we must use a fire element weapon, and if we use the wrong element we simply will not take advantage of the weaken effect. Now, in the case of neutral magic such as Finale, which cannot benefit from weaken, it has a 25% conversion that accumulates to the 25% provided by Spell Burst for a total of 50%. If you are wondering how to know the critical resistance of the bosses, I will leave you the link to this Discord server, which has a bot that provides a lot of useful information about the game and the bosses. To know how much critical rate you have in your build, you just have to add. You should know that we have a base critical rate of 25. Finally, if we want to answer the initial question of how much critical rate do we need? Well, this will depend on the boss we face, but if you want to have a minimum value, let's take Trickster, who has one of the highest resistances with 35 critical resistance, which is necessary to have 180 critical rate. And well, that would be all for today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe. It is a great support for me.